Hi, Shirley here, and today is Friday. It's a Venus day, and I figured why not talk about Venus? Um, and I figured I want to talk about Venus and Pluto connections in the natal chart from the more evolutionary perspective, because I see a lot of aspects videos that kind of touch on the topic but don't like. It's usually you have evolutionary astrology videos and you have aspects in the natal chart videos, and they're usually don't intertwine, at least not from what I've seen as free videos. So yes, Venus and Pluto, and of course I'm going to talk about the more challenging aspects, although that can very well happen with the easier aspects, as there are no easy aspects to Pluto, right? So Venus is a love language. It's also the way we manage with finances. It's also a Venus theme. I mean, of course, there are a lot more planets, but Venus is also, yeah, it's also business. Um, Ruling Taurus and Libra. So Taurus is the material plane, right? It's an earth sign. And Libra is more the air sign. So harmony, aesthetics, harmony in relationships, maybe balance in relationships. You know, so in relating to Taurus, it's the sensual experiences and how do we sense love, and how do we sense being loved. And that may vary, for example, if you had a Venus in Gemini, then you definitely need to have your own time, and you may experience love as a deep conversation or a light conversation or exchange of ideas. So that's Venus. And it rules over art as well, especially things of value. So the things that we buy, like art that we buy for our home, also expression like singing is very much Venusian art. It is considered a feminine, a yin sign, which can be confusing because the gods that it relates to, for example, Aphrodite, are gods of love and war, right? So Venus has also connection to war. This is more depending on the way, if she's an evening star, morning star, visible, invisible. Sometimes there are, she protects the ones who lose in the war. She supports the people who need to deal with defeat, or the people who are winning the war. So Venus is also related to war. It's love and war. And that is something we might want to look at when we discuss Venus and Pluto. And Pluto is the journey of the soul of many lifetimes. It's the trauma that the soul have gathered through many lifetimes. The experience that embedded in the depth of the psyche. It's what we don't know that we don't know about ourselves, and about our patterns, and about our collective and unconsciousness that we tap into through challenging experiences, of course. And that's why no Pluto aspect is easy. It may bring a lot of wealth, a lot of healing, a lot of power and empowerment, but it tends to do so through exploring disempowerment first. And when we have a Pluto-Venus contact, so the themes of deep healing and transformation and deep empowerment come through a Venusian aspects. So aesthetics can also be one. We think right away about love and sexuality, but aesthetics, the way we deal with our money and other people's money, our resources and our other people's resources, especially if you have like a Pluto-Venus, opposition in the second and eighth house. It deals, of course, with our most intimate connections, because Pluto is intimate and Venus is connections, right? So our intimate relationships, and Pluto takes a turn on occult, on energy, on control, on trauma, on deep healing and transformation, with Venusian aspects. This is why we hear about the cliche that Venus-Pluto is always to do with either deep obsession or exchange of power, even in sexual relationships, or disempowerment in sexual relationships or love relationships, romantic relationships, that has often to do with financial aspects as well, with the material plane as well. So the journey of Venus through Pluto is to find its own sense of empowerment through having their own resources and keeping them materially, energetically, especially. This is a strong one with Pluto that I don't hear talked about often. People talk about how Pluto Venus can be abrasive sexually, or abrasive maybe a bit psychologically, or abrasive financially, but it's also abrasive in terms of occult violence in intimate relationships. That's the Pluto Venus. Now, Pluto is also occult. Pluto is also the use of magic in both the white and the dark aspects of it. And so finding the Venus that runs into a Pluto discovers a world that is dark, discovers a world that is scary, discovers a world that is overwhelming in the most intimate things, in the root chakra, the money, power, sex. But sex is not just, a physical urge with Pluto. It's a deep emotional thingy. It's a love that is it's lust, it's limerence, and Venus is, well, I would not say Venus is necessarily like this pure unconditional love. It's the god. It's related to the gods of love and war. But it usually does have this kind of more harmonious, this sensual, harmonious aspects to it. It seeks the harmony, it seeks to connect, and Pluto seeks to control. Now, when you have a Pluto-Venus contact in your natal chart, there's a part of you seeking to connect, and there's a part of you seeking to control. And this is true to your finances, as well as your relationships, as well as the way you practice occult. You will have to learn how to practice occult. If you have Pluto-Venus connection in the chart, you will have to, because otherwise you would be disempowered by that. Perhaps that in some way relates to the Mercury-Pluto aspects as well. Mercury is the mind and Pluto is occult and energy, so you have to protect your own energy. But Venus is also the more physical form, the body. And it is very, it's something that's not so talked about. When you don't live in your body, there are plenty of other entities and energies and even bacteria that would love to take your part in this life. And so for Venus Pluto, sometimes living inside the body is a challenge, because the trauma is in the body, the trauma is in the ground. The trauma is in the intimate places, and the process of returning to being inside your body, to being present inside your body, is a process that needs to be dealt with tenderly. When you have a Pluto-Venus conjunction, because you become empowered through returning to yourself, through remembering your soul, remembering the path of your soul. And this is whenever Pluto touches your inner planets, the theme of remembering is very prominent, because you remember the traumas of your soul, but you remember that you are light underneath, that you have been so many things, and so many things were done to you, and you did so many things, and eventually you are light that surfs through these patterns of existence. And so remembering that you are light, and that you ground light into this earth plane, is a crucial step in returning to your body again, to ground yourself. And the process of grounding for Venus Pluto is, it has to be tender. It has to be tender, because what you do is you bring love, you get connected with love, which is not going to be easy for you. Your sense of self-value is usually very disempowered at a certain stage in your life, depending on supportive aspects, but you will deal with great sense of disempowerment as to your self-value, as to your body, as to your sexuality, as to your the things you hold precious, as to your material plane. And you will need to find a way to connect with light in a way that is genuine. And that is it's a really challenging process, because you find it difficult to contain light in the initial phases of healing. You find it difficult to contain light within your body, and there is a response to light. So light brings memories, light brings triggers. You don't know how to let it in sometimes, especially if you also have like a Saturn opposition. It makes it even more difficult to bring light into your body. But the more you do that, and the more you find the light within yourself, and you bring the light in, and you merge with the light aspects of yourself, and you bring light to your body without ignoring or repressing what you see and what you feel and what you receive from Pluto, the more empowered you are, because you can remain in your body and feel your emotions. And then if you are in your body and you feel your emotions, you're not going to need so much intensity, emotional intensity, in order to feel. It's like a sensory deprivation exercise, right? If you feel your feelings and you sit with yourself and you feel your feelings, you're not going to need extra intensity to let you know that you feel love, or that you feel pain, or that you feel anger. And then you will be able to process through these feelings a lot easier. The same is with love. You need to appreciate various forms of love, especially the forms that do not necessarily depend on other people. So opening your heart, connecting your heart chakra to your sex chakra is a very good practice for Pluto-Venus. It's very good practice for everyone, but especially for Pluto-Venus. Because Pluto is, if you don't give direction to the energy with the Pluto-Venus, then you get all kinds of themes of power and sexuality and resources that go out of control. So the heart gives it direction, gives it intent. Set an intent before any intimate encounter. Set an intent before every intimate encounter with yourself. Intent is crucial with Pluto because intent gives direction to the energy. Set an intent to heal in loving ways. Ask to find healing in a loving way, in a tender way. Tenderness is a big one. Being tender with yourself is a big one, and it's often triggering. And it's crucial for you to heal the bodily traumas and learn to contain light with your body, because you are here to work with energy. You are here to work with ritual, and I don't mean it in necessarily in any pagan way or a way that contradicts your religious beliefs. Ritual is also setting intent. Ritual is also setting intent and having a physical, material manifestation of this intent. Okay, for example, having a vision that you are going to open a business, and then you set something, you write a Facebook post, you search for some data that you need, you sign a relevant contract, okay, you make a step in the material plane. That is the ritual of setting the good energy and setting the intent to do what you want to do. So this goes a long way with any Pluto issue, which is a surprising thing because intention is tender. Small steps are tender, but they go a long way. They go a long way. Because with Pluto, the unimaginary things, the unimaginary healing can happen. It takes you from a point where you are in complete upheaval and takes you through the healing process, and it leaves you healthy. Pluto transit, it tells you to let go of what no longer serves you. But letting go is done by, with the Venus Pluto especially, it's not about letting go of the past, but about letting love in. Letting love that is a divine love. Love cannot be a person for you. Love has to be divine. You have to have a force that is so strong that it can transmute Pluto. And this cannot come from a person. You may think it can. It cannot come from a person. It can only come from the divine. And it doesn't matter. I would even say be careful with religion, because religion is man-made. The spiritual aspect of religion, maybe yes, but and your view of religion and your view of the divine has to be such that supports you. I mean, if you believe, for example, in punishment, if you believe that you will be punished for your bad deeds, this can, it can be a problem. It may work for some people, but it can be a problem because you don't want the energies of shame and guilt and blame and grudge inside your body. Healthy shame is okay, but not the energies of feeling like, oh, fear from the divine, because you had enough of fear. Pluto is showing you the depth of fears. So it's really important to cultivate the depth of love and the depth of healing. Pluto will support you on that. Pluto is just power. If used correctly, it's your deepest sense of empowerment in the world. But it takes time to manage a Pluto, especially if it's retrograde and you get even more energy. So you need to learn in this life how to manage your Pluto theme in the house that it appears in your chart. Um, and when it's in contact with Venus, then to do your to make love, you need to receive from the divine. It's like healing. You need to receive from the divine and then share it with another person. You're not privileged to have all kinds of practices that many people can go. Many people can have all kinds of sexual practices that are not big deal for them. They can have, I don't know, sex on psychedelics. They can have certain aspects of power exchange without any, connection to the divine. They can have certain types of kinks, certain types of this, certain types of that. As the Pluto-Venus, especially if it is in some way touching your 8th house, but even if it's not, you don't have the privilege to do that. Because the sexual encounter is Plutonian. It's too much energy. If you don't give good direction to the energy, and good direction can only come from the energy of unconditional love. That's the only way. Any sort of other energy is just not enough to be a fair equal to Pluto, or to transmute Pluto. So this is something really important to remember, because you might be tempted to all kinds of practices that you turn into without developing your connection with love first. So you have to love yourself first, also physically, because you don't have the privilege to have another person have that much power over you. It doesn't mean you cannot go into a relationship of kink or power exchange, which is sometimes the case for Pluto-Venus people. But it does mean that you don't have the privilege to not make your own money. You don't have the privilege to not be present in your body. You don't have the privilege of practicing sexuality without an emotional connection. That's a big one. Many people can do it. Many people can do it, and it's not a problem because they don't have such great energy. So if they have, sex for the sake of fun, and they just have sex and they're not ready for a relationship right now, so they enjoy what they have, knowing that, okay, so you can have, more feelings, less feelings, but eventually you will move on. The Pluto-Venus person, if they don't have this strong basis of emotional connection and divine connection, it would go sour, because the energy is just too much. They would become obsessive, they would become controlling or controlled, or they would turn to the wrong partners because they feel loved by the other person, being so obsessed about them that they want to control them. They don't understand love. In many ways, they understand power, and they understand love as power, and it happens oftentimes subconsciously. So you would think you are the most illuminated Venusian person, a Libran or a Taurian, and you think, what, I love my body, there's no problem, I love my body, it is so beautiful, but you're not present in your body. Or you think, yes, of course, I'm all for equality, and everything has to be balanced and everything has to be harmonious, but you're not cultivating that in your subconscious. You may run into a person who seems like an intelligent person, or maybe a respectful person, but then somewhere along the way they develop these obsessive emotions to you, and they express it in ways that are controlling. So your conscious mind, your Venusian aspect might say, okay, this is not love, but your Pluto aspect is being fed by this energy. It's being fed by this energy, and it's hard for you to let go, because it messes up with the way you see love. Okay, this is how people find themselves in very, very violent relationships. And the violent partner can be a very intelligent person, can be a very caring and giving person, other than, when the pattern is being triggered. Or you can yourself become this obsessive person, this person that it is not something that your Venus, your Venus part is agreeing with, but your visceral senses deal with such energy that you don't know how to heal, and then you can become, the obsessive partner in the relationship too. Um, so, and when it comes to a cult, you will have to learn how to be empowered, to be present in your energy, to be grounded, um, and to cultivate blessings. For example, you can have a very good understanding that if a person does something even cruel and brutal, they are simply not aligned with divine love. And so you can practice blessing them to be aligned with divine love, and blessing yourself to be aligned with divine love. Setting intent, blessing, prayer. These are all things that go a long way. It doesn't mean not feeling your anger. It doesn't mean not feeling your vengefulness. It doesn't mean not feeling the more difficult feelings that Pluto is calling you to feel, especially in Venusian matters. And it can be about money, and it can be about love. It can be about sexuality. Right? The deeper, so it is a fine balance between feeling your emotions, writing your emotions, releasing your emotions, dancing your emotions, being sexually expressive with your emotions, and setting intent. Bless the people who disempowered you with alignment with the divine. Bless the people who try to sway you away. Bless yourself with alignment with the divine, whatever you find, whatever is the divine for you. Okay, that which makes you healthy, that which makes you happy, that which opens you to love and opens you to feel. Bless yourself. It is not a one-day process, right? It's a Pluto matter. But you are going to become empowered, especially in your relationship with yourself, in your relationship with power, in your relationship with sexuality, in your relationship with occult knowledge. You will become, your path, your trajectory is to become empowered in these in these aspects, and then you can be healed. You will understand that you need your own property, your own energy, your own time and space, your own practice of self-pleasure. This is so important for a Pluto-Venus person. The religious that say, oh, the sexual activity only takes place between a couple that are usually married, and they don't please themselves out of their own sexual encounters. Not for you if you're a Pluto-Venus. Not for you. You have to be separate, because when you do merge, you merge with your entire being. So you have to remain separate. You have to remain present. You have to remain in your body. You can't allow yourself to go out of you, because it's too much energy. If you give your power away to another person, which usually is a Plutonian person themselves, then they receive too much energy and they cannot give direction to this energy anymore. This is why even if you enter a power exchange relationship, you still need to keep, power is given and taken. If you cannot take your power at any given time, then you're not in a power exchange relationship. You're in an unhealthy relationship, and quite a destructive one as well. So you would constantly be reminded of where do you need to make sure you're not giving your power away. You will constantly be reminded of how powerful you actually are, and you will constantly learn how to give direction to this energy and to this power in ways that are beneficial for you. and society. And so I will not lie, forming relationships, forming deep, intimate relationship, it's not something that's impossible. It does take two very awakened people. And it does take, it's really important to come from a place of good connection with the divine, good practice of self-pleasure, good practice of occult, of white magic, not dark magic, of white magic. Good ethical boundaries for your energy. This is so important. I cannot even begin to stress this enough. And it's not talked about because people talk about, Venus, Pluto, and, they talk about this, the sexual harshness. They talk about obsession in relationships. They talk about maybe exchange of money and sex sometimes. But I hardly hear the occult, Pluto, occult, energy, magic, astrology. One of the best things for you with the Pluto-Venus aspects, if you have other, supportive aspects, is to study astrology, to look at the natal chart of the partner, to look at the composite chart of you and the partner, to look at how does your composite chart looks, to get in touch with reality, to give direction to the energy of Pluto in a good way. Because if you, for example, practice astrology and practice the occult and practice white magic and practice energetic boundaries, then you are less in a place where you could be disempowered in this. For example, if you don't believe in energy, it's very unlikely that you won't believe in energy in your life if you're Venus, Pluto, but especially you will encounter this in sexuality for sure. You may encounter other lives in sexuality for sure. But if you are the kind of person who is blocked to energy work, who is prejudiced about energy work, who is prejudiced about the occult, you're not going to do well. Because you're going to find people who are very deeply into the occult and not necessarily into white magic, and they are going to mess with you. They are going to mess with you. And nobody is going to be there for you, because if you don't have a network of people who are with healthy energetic boundaries that can validate your experience and can give you practical tools of how to deal with psychic attack, how to deal with mind control, how to deal with sensational control, astral body violence, then you're going to find yourself, thrown from one place to another, not receiving good help, maybe even attacked by your therapists, or the people who are supposed to make sure that you are safe. You don't have the privilege in this life to not be completely empowered in your body, heart, mind, and soul. And the minute you get that, you're going to have a very sound basis of growth in your life. And you're going to understand that no matter what society thinks or what desire you have to merge with another human being or to be in a relationship, you are born with tremendous energies around these topics that you have to learn how to give direction to. And I always like to give the example of pets. And let's say you love dogs, and you had a nice dog that never, maybe you grew up into a family where there was a dog already, and all you had to do was take it to a walk and play with it a little. And this is what you know about dogs. And then you decide you want a Rotti, like a Rottweiler. And you buy a Rottweiler, and you think, oh, they're so cute, they're so energetic, they're so happy, they make me so happy. But if you don't know how to give direction to the energy of your dog and lead the dog, they can endanger your life and the life of your children and the life of the people around you. But if you do know how to give to to give direction to the energy, you will find the most loyal dog, the most protective dog, a joy in the family, such a companion. But you have to learn how to give energy. You have to be a leader. You cannot be, you cannot spoil it when it's not spoiling time. You cannot not set boundaries. You cannot do these things. The dog needs you to be safe with you. It needs to know that there is a leader in the house. Otherwise, they're not safe. They don't feel safe, and when they don't feel safe, everybody is a threat. So with having any kind of Pluto touching upon your personal planets, especially Venus or Mars, of course, that's also the body and anger issues. But having these energies, it's like you are born with a Rottweiler. And nobody tells you that it's a Rottweiler. You just think it's a cute puppy. And nobody tells you what you're into. But you're born. You didn't buy it. You didn't choose it. You were born with it. And now you have to learn how to give directions. But you don't have anybody to help you. Nobody talks about people who are born with rotties. Nobody talks about being born into this situation. Nobody talks about and the tools that people give others might not be sufficient for you. They might not help you so much. Okay, you go out of a messy relationship, people tell you love yourself, respect yourself, set boundaries, and you have no idea where to begin even. That's the experience of having a Pluto-Venus connection. So you need to seek out people who have grown out of this aspect and hear their experiences. There are a lot of taboo things around it. It can be the fantasies that you have during sexuality that can even trigger you. It can be bodily sensations, feeling another person inside of your body, feeling, for example, energy sex is great for a healed Pluto-Venus. But this is also a way that you can be disempowered again. Nobody talks to you about the importance of, occult practice or having the energy of unconditional love inside you and being able to contain it. Nowadays, people talk about this more, but that's something you will need to. You're constantly. It's like you're growing into power, and you're constantly reminded of your power. And it has many blessings, and it's kind of difficult to get the immensity of the power, because that people who don't have this position, they can do many things that they can get away with easily. They can go through a heartbreak and it will not be as terrible. They can go through a breakup, it will not be as life endangering. They can date all kinds of people and feel safer. They can go to a healer and not experience, all kinds of things that you may experience if the healer is not working ethically with the energy. They don't have this sensitivity to the world as much as you do. And it's not just that you are, for example, a Neptune, and a prominent Neptune is very sensitive, right, to other worlds and to energy. But with Pluto, the sensitivity is around the boundaries, is around the themes of power and disempowerment in so many ways: physical, emotional, financial, mental, psychological, occult, energy. So yeah, let's take a card for a Pluto-Venus. Something for Pluto-Venus. Yeah. Oh, I love these cards because they always remind me of things that I still didn't mention and I want to talk about. Accept your mistakes. Be easy on yourself with your mistakes. Okay, picking the wrong partner, investing in the wrong business, making a financial decision that you feel disempowered by now. Accept your mistakes. Be forgiving to you. Very helpful for everyone, but definitely with any kind of Pluto-Venus, because Venus is our self-worth. And you need to understand that you're worthy. If you make a lot of mistakes, you're about to be professional in this field. It's not about you're not worthy and that's why you made a mistake. No, you made a mistake because this is something that you are growing in, and you grow through error learning. And sometimes the mistake can be really frightening and life endangering. And yet you need to, to love you in the process. It's one life, we don't come out of it alive. And choose your own path. This is always a good message to hear. This is why I love working with these cards. These are Marilyn cards, and they channel the spirit of Marilyn, Todd Saint Germain, but they're always so empowering. And with the Venus Pluto, you're going to have to strike your own path. You can't be disempowered. You don't have the privilege to be disempowered, not in your workplace, not in your relationship, not when you touch yourself, not when you are sexually active with another, not when you practice magic, not when you channel, not when you study astrology. You're going to have to strike your own path and find your own way. And you will be empowered by doing this. You'll be very much empowered by doing this. Because it would give you the sense of, there is me and there is the other. There is my path and then there are others. If I walk my own walk and somebody comes and wants to take control over me, I can say, okay, they're very sexy, they're very hot, they're very loving, they're very funny, they're very intelligent. But I am first and my way is first. And I will have to give up this pleasure for the sake of something more healthy for me. Which is easier said than done, especially in the beginning, but especially as you grow through quite devastating breakups and sometimes life-endangering breakups, depending on the aspects in your chart, then you learn to both be thankful for what you did experience that was positive and sort of, be more calculated and value you more than the relationship. It sounds egotistical, it's not. Of course you could take it to a narcissistic place, but value you, because a relationship is not about two people forgetting each other, forgetting themselves in favor of each other. Your happiness and your partner's happiness matters more than if you will be together or not. That's a good, and this is something good to remember for everyone, but definitely for Venus Pluto. I heard some people say, don't let it be the love for power, let it be the power of love. The love for power and the power of love, to distinguish between them is quite difficult, I have to admit. But the Pluto-Venus, I don't know if this advice would be of help to you. But to understand that your happiness and the happiness of another partner means more than your being together. Your happiness means more than your being loved by this person. And to find the happiness within, this is why it's so important to grow Jupiter, right? To heal Jupiter, because Jupiter is the joy within. This can help us mitigate the Venus Pluto, especially because when you find the joy within, then you're more selective about people, and with the Pluto Venus, you are not so prone to giving your power away. and there is a huge amount of power, and you'd be surprised by how many ways you could be giving your power away that you didn't even imagine. You will be exposed to every facet of existence with Pluto in any case, and with Pluto-Venus through love, through resources, through money, through values, through power, through boundaries. So with this note, have a happy weekend, and I'll see you in my next video. Do subscribe and click the bell if you want to see more of my videos. Write me down in the comments below if you have any Venus-Pluto aspects in your chart. How do you deal with them? How do you heal? And yeah, what would be your advice to a person going through their Pluto-Venus phases in their lives? And if you have any requests for me, then you can write in the comments below, and I will try to see, what can I reply, what do I know how to reply. So have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.